Watch the AAA Michigan Open Friday at 7 only on Channel 4.
The 24-hour news beat, only on 4.
We are all deeply committed to the struggle against racism, wherever and whenever it rears its ugly head.
Tonight, Nelson Mandela brings his message of unity to Detroit.
News 4 Night Beat with Mort, Crim, and Carmen Harlan, Bernie Smilovitz, and Chuck Gatica.
Good evening. It's been months and months in the planning, weeks upon weeks of anticipation, and finally hours of waiting. And tonight, a man who has touched the hearts of people around the world is in Detroit. He's been here at Tiger Stadium. South African black leader Nelson Mandela has brought the Midwest to its feet tonight. The highlight of his visit was a huge rally here at the stadium. It was filled with song, with speeches, and lots of emotion.
Begin to thank you, the wonderful people of Detroit. Right now, I wish I could climb down the stage and join you in the stands and embrace you one and all. In the face of your own problems and difficulties, you have not forgotten us. We will never forget you. When we were in prison, we appreciated and avidly listened to the sound of Detroit, Motor Town. On reaching Detroit, I recall some of the words of a song sung by Marvin Gaye, another famous motor-owned product. The words go, quote, "Brother, brother, there's far too many of you dying. These words are a reflection of the South African condition. For how long must our brothers and sisters go on dying? We declare, not for long. We are going to free South Africa so that all people, black and white, live in harmony and peace. We don't want apartheid to survive even one more day. If the vote is good enough for our white compatriots, it is sure good enough for us.
Well, the crowd here at Tiger Stadium was estimated at about 50,000 people. Tickets ranged in price from $10 apiece to $10,000. All the proceeds will be going to the African National Congress.
Many of the people at the stadium tonight came from all over Michigan and other parts of the Midwest. They took off from work, rounded up their friends and family, and came to witness this historic event. News 4's Dan Mountney has been at the stadium all day today. And Dan, this has been a day many people, including us, will never forget.
It sure was, Carmen. You had 50,000 people here, as you mentioned, who heard some outstanding music, an awful lot of speeches. But clearly, it was Nelson Mandela who stole this show tonight. He delivered a stirring speech sprinkled with lots of Detroit references. He told this crowd that he admired them, that he respected them, but most of all, that he loved them. It was a speech with lots of moments that I think left quite a few spines tingling in this crowd. I think a few here. Your reaction to the speech?
I thought it was great. It's been a tremendous day for Detroit, for me personally.
Was it everything you thought it would be?
Certainly, certainly. He's a modern-day Moses.
Yeah. How about you? Your reaction?
I thought he was marvelous, just great.
And you?
I thought it was a message that appeals to all mankind.
And all ages, we should mention, as you said, very much a family crowd, lots of young people. Would you stand up a second? What'd you think of the speech tonight?
Terrific.
Yeah. How'd you like the part where he talked about Detroit?
I like Detroit. It's a good state. Good city.
You're glad he came, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, another one of the highlights we had to mention is the choir that we heard here tonight. Those 2,000 voices. They assembled church choirs from all over the Detroit area, suburbs included. We have a few of them assembled here. I must say you were outstanding tonight.
Thank you.
What did you think?
I thought it was great. I loved it. I wouldn't have missed it for anything.
What kind of thrill was it to be singing there with Nelson Mandela right up on the stage next to you?
It was so powerful that it brought tears to my eyes. I'm a native African, and when I heard that man talk, my heart was just overwhelmed. I love him, and he is my hero.
It sure is. How about you? What was your reaction?
I have a lot of respect for him. Anybody that can go to jail for 27 years to stand up for his convictions deserves my respect, and it was thrilling to be a part of this.
Well, it's thrilling listening to all of you. 2,000 members. Will you ever get back together again?
Hopefully. Hopefully. I hope so.
Maybe do a little recording? Let's see. Thank you all very much for sticking around.
Thank you.
All in all, a very long evening. An awful lot of these people have been here since 4 o'clock this afternoon. But I think they felt it was worth it. Actually, they ate it up. And it's not over yet. We're still waiting for Stevie Wonder to join us in just a little bit. Mort and Carmen.
All right, thank you, Dan.
Chris Hansen is standing by outside Tiger Stadium right now as this huge throng of people begins to make its way home. Chris?
Well, people, as you say, Mort, are starting to come out of this stadium. They're very touched by what Nelson Mandela had to say today, and one of the people who was listening quite closely was 71-year-old Julius Clark, who's standing with me right now. You said something very interesting to me before, Julius, that a couple of the things in Mr. Mandela's speech really hit home with you tonight.
Yes, the struggle for freedom. I like the way he is progressing with his action of non-violence.
You've watched the civil rights struggle in Detroit for years. You marched with Martin Luther King in 1963. You're 71 years old, the same age as Nelson Mandela.
Yes,
You've seen it come a long way.
I sure did, yes. And this, of course, this is not like the one that happened in 61, 62. This is a little different now because we are more used to what this is all about.
It's a new beginning for the civil rights struggle.
Civil rights. And Mandela is just quite of a guy. You know, he's a different kind of guy, you know. And he is just fantastic for this time of his life. He's a man that served 27 years in jail fighting for freedom, and he came out and picked up the same difference. Still
and he's really making a difference, and it was a big event here tonight.
It makes a big difference, yeah, because this time around there were more people with knowledge that's needed to have a situation such as Mandela's.
Thank you, Mr. Clark, for being with us tonight. A lot of other people out here very touched coming out of the stadium tonight, but right now we're going to go back to Mort inside Tiger Stadium.
All right, thank you, Chris. There is other news about Nelson Mandela tonight, but it's coming out of Washington rather than Detroit. News 4 reported exclusively on our news beat at 5 that a large group of congressmen has nominated Mandela for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, it'll be fall before the committee that makes that decision makes a final announcement. But tonight, News 4's Keith Oppenheim asked some Detroiters how they would feel about Mandela getting that prestigious honor.
That we admire you. We respect you.
News 4 learned that 53 U.S. congressmen admire and respect Nelson Mandela so much, they've all nominated him for the highly respected and lucrative Nobel Peace Prize. Many Mandela supporters believe that if he were to win, such an honor would be a great boost for the anti-apartheid cause.
I think it would add more focus to what Nelson Mandela is doing, plus what is needed in our society in America and in South Africa. The racism needs to stop.
he will receive money which the ANC needs so very much at this time.
For you, it's both practical and symbolic.
Absolutely.
The world is waiting for the sunrise, and I think Mr. Mandela is going to bring that sunrise forth. And I think he deserves that Nobel Peace Prize.
He's been out here. The struggle is constantly going on, and I think it's something that, you know, that people feel proud of. And I think that's a wonderful nomination for him.
On this nomination sheet, congressmen have called Nelson Mandela a true world leader in the tradition of Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi. And there's little question that so many people here at Tiger Stadium share that vision. On the night beat at Tiger Stadium, Keith Oppenheim, News 4.
I think it's only fair to point out that we got that exclusive about Mandela being nominated for a Peace Prize, or at least recommended for one, from our special guest commentator and analyst, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who's been with us throughout the evening.
To note, you know?
Yes, well, I thought it was. He's joining us now for the news beat.
That's right. What was your reaction, not only to the nomination of the Nobel Peace Prize for Nelson Mandela, but also to the speech tonight?
Well, first of all, I was very impressed with the speech. The focus was predictable. That is, negotiation over confrontation, a new non-racial democratic South Africa where blacks and whites can live together, an appeal for support to build democratic structures within that country. He hit the right themes again tonight. The idea of the Nobel Peace Prize is significant because it keeps illuminating South Africa. If he were to get it, he would be the third South African leader to receive it. Abbott Lutuli, who along with Dr. King in 1961 called for sanctions, received the Nobel Peace Prize. Then, of course, Bishop Desmond Tutu received the Nobel Peace Prize. So if he were to get it, he would be the third South African leader to get it.
Which is an indication, I think, even his nomination of how much focus worldwide is now on South Africa and its problems. It also
helps keep that struggle alive. Let us not forget, Nelson Mandela has more popularity within his country than his president, more credibility than his entire government, and yet does not have the right to vote. With all of this adulation, all this exaltation, Nelson Mandela does not have the right to vote. Thus, the struggle continues.
It's amazing.
And that's indeed what this mission to the United States, through North America, through Europe, and other places is all about, is Mandela's...
It's not a victory lap. It's an appeal for help.
Determination to raise consciousness and cash, as we've been saying.
It's not that we won and thank you. It is that the struggle continues. We need your help.
Thank you, Reverend Jackson, for being with us. We'll be talking to you again.
All right.